You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Leftist lies and globalists, I'm pushing them back from the saloon to the airwaves. I'm spitting it raw. Constitution's my compass, liberty's law. Big gods creeping, shadows on the land. Feds with the schemes trying to bind up my hands, but I'm the Sherpa, guiding through the storm. Red, white, and blue, yeah, freedom's reborn. They spin their tails, but I see through the haze. Media maggots, lost in the maze. I'm calling it out, no fear in my soul. This patriot's fire ain't losing control. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Leftist judges twisting, trying to steal our rights, but I'm locked and loaded, got them in my sights. From J6 to the border, they're selling us out. I'm screaming from the mountain, hear my rebel shout. They mock the flag, but I'm holding it high. Stars and stripes forever under God's open sky. No globalist chains gonna cage this land. I'm the Sherpa with the truth in my hand. They push their agenda, but I'm breaking the mold. Their promises empty, their hearts ice cold. Chicago's bleeding, borders torn apart. I'm fighting for the people with the warrior's heart. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. I've walked the line, 41 years, badge on the grind, now I'm on the air. My voice like a blade, cutting through the lies that the traitors made. Hurricanes rage, but we're standing tall. Sheriffs of the Constitution answering the call. From the saloon to the heart of the fray, we're taking back America, no more delay. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas hear my voice resound. Conservative Sherpa, freedom's battleground. Berserk, Bobcat, rules will never kneel. For God and country, this fight is real.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, where I am broadcasting from North Idaho in an actual free state. I am, in fact, this guy. I am your conservative Sherpa. And what I do is I attempt to guide you through the insidious maelstrom of Democrat and leftist and globalist lies and chaos and deceit and bedlam and tyranny and betrayal. And you're listening to the Saloon on all sorts of cool places on the SHR Media Network YouTube channel. Also on KLRN, where Rick Robinson is currently simulcasting me. And thank you ever so kindly for doing that, sir. Please note that what you're about to hear for the next couple of hours consists of my opinion and my opinion only, and those of my guest. I have a great guest, a returning guest tonight, Mike Fitzpatrick. What I do, however, here is the job that the American media maggots fundamentally refuse to do, which is I'm changing America, one leftist diaper at a time. And with regard to this, Mike had a little tete-a-tete with me about this in honor of Jake. He's going to tipple a bit. Well, you know me, I already customarily have something in here, but I don't water this drink just like we don't water our conversations here in the saloon. We are still serving stiff drinks, along with facts and history and logic and rationality and proportion and context and tradition and clarity for common people using common sense like you and me. So politics, religion, crime, culture, race, sex, economics, science, law, and technology. Oh, geez. We talk about it all right here in the saloon where the speech is free, but the booze is not. I'm live streaming on a whole bunch of places, and you've seen this t-shirt before, and boy, did it apply today. Maybe I'll go into that. But I am not a friend of technology, or I don't know, technology is not a friend of me. Maybe that's more appropriate. Anyway, Mike Fitzpatrick, maybe number one, welcome to the saloon. And number two, okay, what happened when you could take a phone and I don't know, I think I got about 54,000 photos on this.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, why don't I do the common sense thing? Not just leave them there, but let's put them on the computer that's directly behind me. Now, I got a big-ass computer right over here, over the table. That's the Black Pearl. But I've also got another one behind me, an ancient Toshiba, and that's where I keep a lot of photos. So what happened to the time when you could take the proper cable, plug it into the USB over here? See where it says BZ Saloon back there? That's the Toshiba.
Mm-hmm.
And a cable to the USB and a cable to the butt of this thing. And then it would be like presto changeo. We're uploading photos from the phone to your confuser. No. Now it asks you, do you want to do this? Can you do this? You're going to have to log in for this. Do you have 4 times verification? We're going to send you a 1-time code. We're going to send you a 2 times code. We're going to send you no codes. And just let me upload the photos from my phone to the computer over here before they're lost. So sorry. This is me kvetching at the very beginning of the show. But it's like the older I get every month, everything becomes more complicated to me, unnecessarily so. So I suppose, I guess, gone are the days when you had a cable with the proper connections, USB, whatever the USB B, C, D, Q, X, T to the phone, and they would shake hands and talk to each other and upload phones. No wayman layman. It's not happening now. What the hair?
Well, I got to tell you, one, because of hackers, that's why you're having these issues, right? Nobody wants stuff being able to be downloaded through USB without some type of login or password these days.
Yeah,
so,
I had to log in. And you know me, I write down every password.
Of course you do. And you have a password manager too. It's
Okay.
that little sticky pad that's over there behind you.
Okay. No. All right. Mike Fitzpatrick,
Get
commence
a proper password manager, man.
commence laughing in 3, 2, 1.
There it is. The Holy Grail.
There's my passport manager.
The Holy Grail has made an appearance.
Because you know me.
Oh, dude, it is so good to be back with you for this. It's
Am I not refreshing? Am I not enter-fucking-taining?
you are. There's
Same damn
times
thing.
there's times where it's a trip right back into the 80s with how we used to do things in the 80s.
It's like pulling my hair out, and I don't have that much to spare. And I even cut it. I cut my hair. There's not much on top, which is why I wear a hat. But, I have a cord. I can no longer plug it in. Okay, I guess enough of that.
You could get a little hard drive kind of thing. And then because it's USB-C on your phone, plug it into the phone and see if that goes any better, because that way you might be able to just copy them right over to your hard drive.
Like an external hard drive.
Yeah, like this.
Okay.
Because it's USB-C on the butt of the phone. Plug it in and it should work. They should see it as a drive.
But
I'm just saying.
Don't you think that is like way too simple for me?
See, this is part of the reason why I always recommend people to get a Mac, quite frankly, because things work better. They work easier. You don't have these frustrations. Things just work. Easy.
Heavy sigh. Well, I thought at the beginning of the show that I would go into a little bit of stuff about Jake and what happened to Jake. He passed away a week ago, last Wednesday. And I've decided that's going to be a show for another day. That's not going to be today. So I may end up the show with something like that. But I had you here because in the intervening time since you were last on, which I think was early April, and we always have a good time together because you kind of, sort of, as best you can, try to align me with the stars and the prevailing technology and the constellations. And it's a tough job. It's a tough trick. You don't always do it. You don't always pull it off. But I got to admire you for trying. You at least try to do that.
Somebody has to, and apparently the universe has nominated me. But
and the universe is not working well for me. Jeez, oh, pizza. In any event, Mike Fitzpatrick, for those who may not know who you are, first, I'm going to put your social media up. And this is you, specifically you, on X. And Mike is on x.com/NCXCEO. Well, we're going to ask him in just a moment. NCXCEO. Wait, what the heck is that about? By the way, the NCX group has its own X Twitter feed, its own page right here at NCX Group. Now that we seem to have identified you and we've brought up NCX Group, let's say something really similar to, and Mike Fitzpatrick, give us a little bit of your background and the NCX Group.
Oh my gosh. I recently just started a Substack, and I actually had to go through and kind of write a bio for the first time in a long time. So I started my journey in technology almost 45 years ago in 1982. Selling Apple IIs with 8K of RAM and a green screen monitor and a disk drive. Old Epson printers, and I've seen everything through that period, and hung out with Jobs and Wozniak in the early days. And
did you really?
Yeah, Adam Osborne. I got drunk with Adam Osborne in Las Vegas.
Steve Jobs and Wozniak.
Yeah,
cool. I learned something new.
So it was, it was a lot of fun. It was a wild, wild west. We were a bunch of kids. And, to today, for the last 25 years, I've been running my own cyber risk advisory firm working with companies globally to manage the risk of cybersecurity that impacts business and financial capabilities. And so we work with companies that are global Fortune 50s on one hand. The other hand, I've got a client that has 15 employees, but they're publicly traded. And so they have some unique things that they have to do. The big thing that we've been moving into more and more has been cyber risk due diligence for businesses that are looking to sell. So a lot of business owners, quite frankly, BZ, as you look at this and I look into it, I get into it more and more. The best description is two wolves and a sheep going to dinner, but the sheep doesn't know that he's dinner. That would be the seller of the business, and they need a little help and a little protection, and somebody that actually gives a damn about them and them getting through the transaction. And so that's where we're trying to spend some time now.
And the wolves who are out there are just they're drooling and licking their little wolf teefies and deciding out, okay, Jim, you get the hind quarter, and we'll parse all this out. In the meantime, go tear it apart.
No, it's interesting. A lot of money at risk for the seller. It's the largest transaction they will ever do in their lives. And if they get it wrong on the cybersecurity side, it could cost them between 10 and 30% of the value of their company. Well, so they have to get it right.
Aren't a lot of states now saying, or maybe I'm wrong on this, aren't a lot of states saying that if something happens, if you're hacked, you, the business, are responsible for the security of these people, and that leaves you wide open for liability and monetary issues.
Yeah, I mean it's been that way since California changed liability laws back 24 years ago with the Cybersecurity or Data Security Notification Act, so the Breach Act. So if you, the way that it's written, it actually changes 300 years worth of liability law. Just the breach itself becomes the event that makes the business liable. And so there's no more having to prove damages or any of that. The event is the damage. And so it's been that way for, like I said, 24 years. The same kind of law is written literally in every state. They haven't been able to pass one federally. The one that got the closest to it and had the best implementation of it was actually Mary Bono Mack, Sonny's former wife, that was a congresswoman. She was actually my congresswoman, and she was fantastic in the role. But her legislation that she got through the Science and Technology Committee, but the Democrats were in control of Congress, so they didn't let it see the light of day on the floor. But it was absolutely the best legislation that had come out related to this, and putting real things in place that would make a difference. Not the bullshit that you see in most of the times. This was actually real and helpful.
So we're here tonight to talk about, because you and I, you first appeared on Melanie Colette's show, and now she's graduated and waved goodbye to SHR, and she's on.
Does she talk to either one of us?
Me? Oh,
Melanie.
Oh, hair no. No, I'll send her a message every now and then, but she's on Newsmax, and so she has stepped into the big time, and rightly so. But I saw you on her show, and I said, boy, that's one cool dude. Melanie, who is this guy, and how do I get in touch with me? And I did contact you, and very first time we spoke, I mean, you and I were on the phone chatting like we'd been old pals for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then finally, since then, you've been on the show, and I counted 22 times.
Holy cow.
Since then. since then, and every time has been a great time. It's been a wonderful time. But you are my cybersecurity go-to guy with regard to all of that stuff. And since various shows, we always chat with each other and we send texts and whatnot back to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about stuff. And then finally we get to a point where I'll say something similar to, with all that stuff, I bet we've got enough information for a new show. What do you think? And then you'll say, yeah, I sure do. That's great. And that's how we got here today.
And this is how we end up with 75 tabs.
And this is how we end up with, okay, I can put this on here. Now, these tabs only have something to do with tonight's issue, which is data centers and AI. And why all of a sudden does it seem as though there's mighty pushback against data centers and against AI in the United States of America? But look, kids, all the way up here, these are all individual articles and topics that I want to see if maybe I can get to discuss with Mike Fitzpatrick. And no guarantee.
None.
We may or may not get to them. There's it's been my history such that no, mostly I will never get to all the stuff that I want to discuss. But there's some really important stuff that I want to discuss. And to start with, for some people who may not know, what is AI? And by the way, folks, also to let everybody know, you can find all the articles and all the videos that I'm going to be using tonight on my Rumble channel, BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show on Rumble. There's not enough room to put all these links on the SHR Media YouTube channel on this show. So all the links for the articles, all the links for the videos, if you're saying, oh, that's bullshit, he needs to, you can go to Rumble and find all the links that are there. Right there. I don't do it on YouTube. There's no room. Go to my Rumble channel and you'll find this stuff. But let's start with the basics. Maybe a semi-quickie summary of what is AI, because now AI is moving from, I think, general AI, and I have since, of course, forgotten the word or the type of quantification of AI, which is now moving up. There's a new type of AI that we are either at or are moving to. So maybe a little bit of history on that, Mike Fitzpatrick.
Okay. So, and I'm going to preface all of this with some new research that I've been doing. I'm in the process of writing a book, and part of the research that I'm doing in that is related to media and awareness and articles written and all of this. And as it pertains to cybersecurity, it's really interesting how little is written from an awareness standpoint and in just general business publications. But it also got me thinking about BZ, because AI is on the tongue of literally every CEO in the world. I mean, not just once a day, probably 7-8 times a day. It's AI, AI, AI. Every business publication that you see now is AI, AI, AI. So I was curious, how many AI articles had been written since, let's say 2003? I've been playing with AI for about 5 years now, or what they call AI. What we're dealing with is really pattern recognition in a large language model and being able to form sentences. And it works well for marketing in certain things. Does it get everything right? No. Does it drift? Yes. Does it lose its freaking mind? Yes. So we are what I would call, not a general, I would say that we're in what I would call is advanced machine learning, which is just, it is, it would be given the name AI. You have 3 levels. You have AI, you have AGI, and then you have ASI. So AI is just advanced machine learning right now, large language models that are getting better and better and do more and more things. But I got to tell you, they're a long way away from actually being able to replace humans fully. AI, as it sits right now, lacks context. It lacks nuance, and it lacks the ability to think in connective thoughts. And what I mean by that is in the relationship aspect. So you have this particular line, like you and I would think about a situation. We go down this line, this line, this line, but then you're going, well, we need this, and this over here might be obscure, but we need to consider that into the risk profile. You can't do that yet. Or at least what we have access to. Can't do that. You have them, what they call frontier models, that are very advanced. There's a new one out from Anthropic, came out. Well, it's not actually technically out yet. It's called Mythos.
I had an article about that. Yeah.
It's Project Glasswing is what it's known as. And so it's a cybersecurity model. And so what it went through and found as it was testing was several thousand vulnerabilities, some of which that have been around for 27 years in open source, caveat here, open sourced software, meaning anybody can contribute to it, anybody can develop with it. It's there for the public to utilize or improve. So it's not a surprise to me that there would be vulnerabilities found in there. The capabilities of it are interesting in what it can do. But what is even more interesting to me with Project Glasswing is that Anthropic is limiting who will have access to it. So initially it was 40 partners, large high-tech companies that would be given this tool, like Apple, Google, Palo Alto, and others, to go through and shore up their systems before they released this on the public. The other, I guess it was earlier this week, they actually have now launched it to 150 partners globally, to where they have access to it.
Right.
So if something is like, so if something like this is possible, that also means that the bad guys can do the same thing as well.
Okay, so what they're saying, and I'm going to have to take a break here in about a minute or so, but let me see
that
if
wasn't too long.
No, let me see if I'm interpreting this properly. Before it gets released, or will it be first? Will it be released to the public?
It's going to be released, they say, within the next few weeks.
Okay,
so they're giving these companies a head start.
So what they're doing is, I guess, for lack of different words, they're trying to see if these other places, Apple, etc., if there's Google, if they're sufficiently robust to be able to tolerate and integrate with Glasswing.
Well, they're going to use Glasswing to basically do the equivalent of a penetration test, to look for vulnerabilities in software that humans and tools that we've had through the last 20 years, missed. And so that's what it's being used for. That's kind of the purpose of it. And what we know right now, there's a massive PDF that came out right as Glasswing was first announced, and the amount of security people that had input in this from academia, from cybersecurity, from public sector, private sector, was astounding. I mean, it must have been 70, 80 people, very qualified people, detailing what a cybersecurity program would be with Glasswing available, meaning to be used against you, what you would need to do to prepare for it. And so it changes things. To what degree right now? Don't know. But I do know that from an assessment standpoint, in our 25 years of doing this, we've never seen a clean assessment. No one's ever passed.
Okay. All righty. And with that thought, hold that thought, folks, because that's Mike Fitzpatrick. I am BZ, your host here in the Saloon. And it's about time for me to say something really similar, but not exactly like this.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Listen in to the Reaver of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a show equipped for bombast. Tune in Mondays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific, featuring a refreshing dose of reality. Jersey Joe fearlessly tackles the tough topics with no nonsense. Just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com, where you can hear the Reaver of Common Sense in action. He may not always be polite. He may not always be refined. But one thing's for sure. He always tells it like it is.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? Then check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with Seven Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, passion.
Are you looking for bold, honest conversation about the issues shaping America? Well, let me welcome you to Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hansen, where we take you beyond the headlines. We dive into politics and culture, the struggles of everyday life. It's raw, real, and unfiltered. If you're ready for truth with a punch, pull up a chair and join us. That's right, Unleashed 101, where real talk feels like home. Find us at unleashed101.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and more. We look forward to seeing you. Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hansen.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Something new is happening that I don't quite understand what's going on in between the graphics that I put up here. I get stuck into, I flash on the screen just for a moment, and I don't get what is happening with that. So I'll go to, let's say, a graphic like this. Oh, wait, did it just change? Of course it made me look stupid. Or graphic, yeah, see, there we are. I was I'm on the screen just for a moment slightly, and that's not a well, sorry I made you look at that, but shoot, something is happening. I'm going to have to figure this out here. How sad. Anyway, Mike Fitzpatrick is with us and back in
quite a collection of pictures there, big guy.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm kind of tailoring my break screens to the topic that I have. In any event, welcome back, kids, to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. I am, of course, the aforementioned fat guy, BZ. Thanks to everybody for watching live from a ton of veritable places, including our good friends on KLRN. Thanks for watching live, also later in podcast, and thanks for being in the chat room. And that's when I hear free deet, the crickets in the chat room, because I think maybe there are a lot of people that are on vacation right now, and that's cool. No big deal. No big deal. We were talking. Anyway, let me put this back up. Tonight's shindig is this. Mike Fitzpatrick is in the saloon. We're talking about data centers and AI. And there's some pushback that's going on right now. And the other question is, okay, so why is that? Is that real? People perceive it to be real. So the other thing we talked about, okay, what's AI? Mike indicated what that was in the first half hour. And
well,
Mike,
we haven't finished. We haven't finished that yet. Do you want me to finish it real quick?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's this. What is AI?
What is AI? So
what is it?
Where we are now is in advanced machine learning that they just simply are calling AI. The next step on the ladder is what's called artificial general intelligence. This is about the same intelligence level as a second, third, or fourth grader, and being able to do tasks that a second, third, or fourth grader could do. And then you have ASI, which is artificial superintelligence. That will be, I don't know, 200 times normal human intelligence, normal human IQ.
Holy crap.
Yeah, we'll just be a pet.
We'll make great pets.
Absolutely. So those are the three levels of AI. And so what we're dealing with now is the advancements to artificial general intelligence, the ones that you hear about and with the media that is being pushed. I mean, it's an ungodly amount of media. BC from 2003 or 2023 to today, so about over the last 3 years, there have been nearly, what did it say, 3,000 articles a month written on AI.
Okay, on AI, by AI?
Probably, but no, it's not about AI. I mean, like from mainstream business publications, not blog posts, not some dude in his basement writing about AI, using AI to write about AI. I'm talking about real respectable Bloomberg, CNBC, Fox News, Fox Business
Insider.
Yes. So the amount, I mean, just the sheer volume of it is ungodly. And about 60 to 70% of it is positive. Everything is awesome. So, yeah, it's just all positive news. Now you're starting to get a push on the other side of it with articles that are coming out. But it's interesting if you listen to Kevin O'Leary, like we were talking about before the show,
right?
What he's discovered in trying to get his data center done in Utah. And again, there's a massive data center in Utah. That's the NSA data center. So data centers are not unusual. They're not new. I've been in and out of data centers for probably 45 times in the last 20 years. They don't hum. They don't make noise. They do take water to cool, but it goes back into the system and, through the sewer and gets purified as it's done there. It's interesting where the negative press is coming from. And having been a planning commissioner before, you don't just get to skip through planning. Well, in California you do, but nobody's building new data centers here for AI. So
here meaning California. Because the environment is the problem, the water is the problem, the electricity is the problem.
No, doing business in California is the problem. Just in general, getting something through planning, getting plans approved, getting construction approved. All of that is a pain in the butt in California. You know that.
Well, I thought they were going to attempt to make it an environmental issue. And of course, the rules and regulations on everything are scurrilously ridiculous. But having said that, I thought they were going to fall back on, environment, but not so.
I mean, you've got companies like Meta and Google and others that are not putting data centers in California.
Because of all the crap, all the red tape.
Well, probably because of that. Probably because the land is too damned expensive. The process is long and tedious. There's other places with more water, lower cost of acquisition on the land, and be able to get through a planning process faster. Because we're in an arms race, as I've told you before. AI is the next arms race.
Yeah. Okay. I said that I would kind of sort of maybe hedge my bet a little bit. I'm going to go through what people are referring to right now. And here is a very brief video from, I think, a couple of months ago. And it's from Mount Pleasant, and some people are saying, hey, there's this data center, and what the heck is going on with that? There's that strange sound.
Since Microsoft started constructing its $3.3 billion AI data center in Mount Pleasant in late 2023, Donald Briggs and his neighbors have gotten used to the noise.
So you're not anti-data center?
No, we're not anti-data center.
That is until earlier this month, when a new sound started invading their homes.
It's just a high-pitched drone sound.
I can hear it inside my house, and that's what concerns me.
This is where, as far as our ears can tell, the sound is coming from. Microsoft's project website says that these data centers here behind me on the southern part of the campus will be operational later this year.
Briggs says he could cope with noisy construction because he knew it was temporary. But as the first center gets close to completion...
So you're concerned that this noise could be more long-term?
Definitely. And louder.
Microsoft right now has plans for more than 15 data centers in Mount Pleasant. In a statement to 12 News,
okay, stop. 15 data centers in a town. Now, Mike Fitzpatrick, are we talking about that because someone somewhere has discovered, hey, look, Mount Pleasant has really reasonable regulations. We can purchase the land at a reasonable rate. And we have access to water and power in some fashion. Is that what would make that location more appealing to a big data center?
So I think what they said is Microsoft in general has plans for 15 more, not necessarily in that location, but 15 more across the country. Well, that would be more logical.
They mentioned, well, maybe I should go back and listen to it again. I thought they said Mount Pleasant, but I could be wrong at this stage of the game.
And BZ, the only reason I say that is because with data center and telecommunications coming in, if you put literally all your eggs in one geographic basket and something hits the fan, that means every data center that you have there is offline.
Well, yes, that's understood. That's like you can't put all your military bases in one particular area. You've got to spread them out all throughout the fruited plain. But going back to the original thesis of the show tonight, data centers and AI, why the pushback and why now? There was an article that came out recently in the Wall Street Journal earlier in May. We're in June now, of course, and it is busting out all over. It's June 4th, the year of our Lord 2026, and thanks to everybody for being here tonight. But this article said the American rebellion against AI is gaining steam. Booed commencement speakers, blocked data centers, plummeting poll numbers, fast-growing industry has a faster-growing crisis. One of those issues came up where I am in North Idaho. In Kootenai County, where I am, they said, not just but, well, following this article, they said, not just no, but hair no. And we're not interested in sharing the electricity, nor are we interested in sharing the water that it takes to be able to do this. So we know that water and electricity are two issues at hand now with regard to AI. Some people were saying that, pecan groves drink as much water as an AI center, or almonds take as much water as an AI center. And my first thought on that is, okay, but the number of almond groves are not exploding with the perceived rapidity that I see with regard to, hey, where are all these places? So I thought I'd look around and say, okay, is this a bunch of crap that AI centers are exploding? Or is there any kind of a map which would indicate to me that I could go to, or anybody else could go to, and find out, okay, where is this stuff right now? Well, I mentioned Business Insider because I found this article here. So, and again, this will be up in Rumble. You guys can go there and peruse through this at your own leisure, at your heart's content. But it goes down, and then, shoot, I'm going to have to put an archive link in here. Anyway, I'll put the appropriate archived link so that you can go into it, because apparently Business Insider has decided that it's not going to let me go in here. And I have a way, of course, of busting through paywalls. So the paywall buster, I will put in to Rumble so that you can see this. But they're exploding and they're increasing, I could say, almost geometrically, because we both mentioned this at the beginning of the show, well, before the show. And you said, what's one of the biggest factors in the pushing of AI in the United States? And we almost simultaneously said, Mike.
I don't remember, BZ.
Oh, you jeez. Thanks.
So, okay. It's a stream of consciousness. What do you want from me?
China. You said
it's China. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's the pushback.
That's the pushback. And so the big question that you kind of addressed before the show, and I wanted you to address now, because I'm still going to go through as many articles as I can here, is your question was, okay, if this is the crux of the biscuit, that is to say, if people are saying, hey, no, NIMBY, put that someplace else, the rebellion against AI, which means data centers, is gaining steam. So you said, okay, well, so you have to ask some questions. If we're really in competition with China, and China wants to be the number one big dog on the planet, then what would China be doing in terms of
slowing us down?
Is China helping to say, wait, don't we need a rebellion against AI, which means a rebellion against data centers? So is this Communist Chinese CCP pushed?
Yeah, some of it is coming through this nonprofit called Arabella, which also funds protesters on political issues. So is it really a far-fetched reach by China or their actors within NGOs here in the US to actually protest against data centers? No, I don't think so. I mean, again, we've been building data centers forever.
Now, you
Why
mentioned
is
that,
it now all of a sudden a problem?
you mentioned that, and I was not cognizant, of course, being me, that we had a bunch of data centers. Now, I saw a bunch of data centers, and I know for a factorious that along the Columbia River, when I left Califailure to go here to Idaho, you have to go across, you have to parallel the Columbia River on, I think it's 395. And there are 5 data centers on the Columbia River. And at first, I didn't know what the hell they were. And then I did a little investigation and discovered, yeah, okay, that's why that particular series of long buildings have a ton of generators all lined up in case the electrical goes down. And the other thing that I found interesting is I moved to where I moved in Idaho because I was looking for 2 guaranteed things, which apparently are obviously necessary for data centers. I wanted consistent power and I wanted great access to water. What a lot of people don't know is that where I am up in North Idaho is over one of the 2 largest aquifers in the United States. So for me, winner. I love that. Number 2, all along the Columbia and not far from me are a bunch of electrical generation stations, even though the state of Washington and Oregon have decided that they're going to take down 5 electricity producing dams along the Snake River for salmon. Okay. But you can't have everything. So I'm trying to reconcile in my mind, and maybe you can help me with this. At the same time, people are pushing for huge data centers for AI because it sucks up juice. And at the same time, a lot of leftist states are insisting on, well, we're kicking ICE vehicles to the curb and we're going to go just to EVs. And at the same time, a lot of blue areas in states have said, well, we're not building crap. As a matter of fact, we'd love to be able to take down this evil coal. How can we possibly reconcile this? Yes, there's a need, but no, we're not going to build or be interested in creating the infrastructure necessary for this.
So
make it make sense.
I just looked it up. There are between 4,000 and 5,500 active data centers in the United States right now.
Okay.
It's never been a problem. There's never been a protest. They're usually in nondescript buildings in the middle of a business park because
you would never.
No one wants you to know that it's a data center.
You wouldn't know. It doesn't say data center.
One Wilshire in downtown LA, that's a gateway to the entire internet from there. The other is 333 Wilshire. Again, these are telco data centers. If you want to shut down the internet, those are the 2 places to do it on the West Coast.
Hey, anarchists, you're going to have to replay this so that you can clue into that. Courtesy of Mike Fitzpatrick.
They know. They couldn't actually, be self-respecting anarchists if they didn't know that already.
Yeah, good point. Wait a minute. First time tonight.
I think I still hold the record.
You probably do.
I'm proud of that one.
Thank you.
So again, you have to look at this, and I've gotten to the point now, BZ, where I was talking to my wife about this tonight. Everything is propaganda now. The propaganda is loud. It is off the chain. in how much there is. There's so much it makes my head hurt each day. Good, bad, pro, con, whatever it is, everybody's got an agenda. And I don't think this data center thing is much different. It's interesting. There's a guy out there. He's got a YouTube channel, and it's a bit of in the weeds as far as technology is concerned. The guy's name is Nate B. Jones, and Nate is interesting. He's been a developer, high-end developer for Apple, for Amazon, and a couple of other guys. He's got an interesting take on AI, and it's one that I actually share. And if you look at where we are from a compute standpoint right now, 50 years ago when Apple started, because this is Apple's 50th anniversary this year.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah. And so what we were doing then for computing is we were buying time on mainframes to compute things. Here we are 50 years later, and we are buying time on a mainframe data center. Substitute mainframe with data center.
Okay.
In a data center for compute. So Apple, when it launched the revolution of the personal computer 50 years ago, what did they do? They brought the computer to the desktop. So not having to buy time on a computer anymore, you actually lowered your cost of using a computer. So Apple itself right now is going to be using Google as far as their AI, because Apple on its own is 4 years behind related to AI. That's light years worth of trying to catch up with something of your own.
That's like me, ancient.
Yeah. And it moves fast. And I mean, it is coming at you fast. So Nate talked about the fact that Apple may have intentionally broken itself. And what I mean by that is they may not be pursuing AI. They have the number one platform for people to build models and use models on your own desktop that doesn't require a data center. The platform of choice is that darn cute Mac Mini. Lots of power, fast, quick, in a hurry. And it's got enough to it to where it can handle a large language model, or more to the point, because there's a lot of businesses that have to have privacy. You will not have as much privacy as you would like in a cloud-based AI model. So if you use a cloud-based AI model, your intellectual property, your secret sauce for your business, the things that make you as an organization, could be leaked out, more than likely have been leaked out into AI, to where AI now knows about it. If you're building those in your own environment and bringing computing back out of the cloud and back into your business, that's going to be, I think, the next big thing, especially for the businesses that need privacy. Attorneys, doctors, cybersecurity firms, you can go down the list of who really requires privacy. And I think that that's going to be the future. And that was the contention that Nate was making as well. And I don't think he's right. I think he's right. I think that the smaller language models is going to be the future. Apple's been writing a lot about small language models, meaning just private to what you do as a business. Much smaller, much more, much easier to contain, and much more effective as far as working with it. Does that make sense?
Well, on this show, that's always a bad question.
I have to ask sometimes.
Okay, folks, we're going to take a break. I'm BZ. That is Mike FITZPATRICK, my cybersecurity expert. Now, when you go to Rumble to see where all these articles are sourced and the videos are sourced and whatnot, then if you look on the screen right now, this is Nate B. Jones' spot on Substack. So if you want to, as Mike referenced, you want to read something about Nate B. Jones, there it is above and over on the side, depending on what format you're looking at right now. So go in there, investigate to your heart's content. We'll be right back after this. And we're going to take a break and return in about, 4 minutes or so. Thanks for watching tonight.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
In a world where leftists are running out of metal for the safety pins of their soothing red diapers, one man stands alone, attempting to fundamentally change America, one leftist diaper at a time. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, is guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat leftists and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Listen to BZ Saloon on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern on the SHR Media YouTube channel, Twitch, KLRN, Rumble, and X at BZ Saloon. It's one great late-night conservatarian talk radio show. Be there. Aloha.
Hello, friends. You have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name is Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRN Radio.
It's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Just like the Bidens, I too am moving. Only in my case, it's days and times. That's right, you can now find the Edge of Liberty Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on 11 Eastern on the SHR Media Network. Join me as we talk politics, news, alcohol, fun, not so much fun, clowns, small kittens, large kittens, dogs, amoebas, and anything else that just pops into my mind while I'm on the air. That is Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, on YouTube, X, KLRN Radio, Facebook, Twitch, and anywhere else a good podcast is found. Please check out our website, shrmedia.com. I will see you live on the air.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic women who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding. because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
I'm BZ, and thanks for being here tonight in the saloon. With me is my great guest, Mike FITZPATRICK, founder and CEO of NCX Group. He is my cybersecurity expert, super knowledgeable on all things digital, and that's why he's present here tonight. I want to go over I want to see if I maybe kind of sort of grokked his concept when last we spoke before the break, because knowing who I am, I may not. So, Mike FITZPATRICK, in summary, Senator, what you were saying is that these corporations, groups, will head AI, and it won't be Dell, it won't be Apple. Will it even be Google, or will it be something more specifically delineated and refined than that? Companies that do nothing but AI.
I have lots of thoughts related to this. I think we're headed into a very interesting time, similar to the way it was when I was much, much younger and starting out in the industry. We were making stuff up as we went along. We were inventing things.
The Wild West.
Exactly. So we are back in a time 50 years later where we are in the wild, wild west. And so I think I'm reluctant to place a hard and fast on how this is going to play out. We've talked before about AI and job loss.
Yes.
There's an interesting take and part of an opinion that I've come to probably within the last 3 weeks to a month is that, because again, I'm using AI every day. I'm not seeing how somebody could let human capital walk out of the building based upon what I'm seeing.
And yet you have articles like this.
Correct.
Cloudflare says AI made 1,100 jobs obsolete, even as their revenue hit a record high.
So part of what I think this might be, and again, it may very well have, depending upon what the function of those 1,100 people were. Now, if you're talking about simple things that agents can do in IT, around provisioning and deprovisioning users, then yeah, I can see that. But the other thought of this too, BZ, is all this expansion, all of the AI expansion that's going on, takes a massive amount of capital, huge amounts of money has to be raised. So, as I mentioned before, 60 to 70% of all AI articles are favorable, right?
Right.
CEOs are talking about AI all the time. They cannot get enough of it. What does a CEO want to do? They want to make the business as efficient as possible. In order to do that, they need to raise capital in order to buy the extra compute necessary for AI to replace the humans in their staff. So in order to get the funding that they need, they are letting people go because the cost of money, interest rates, is too high. The ask that they're asking for is too much, and they're not getting the funding that they need to get into this humanless world, for lack of a better term. So the easiest way to get the money that you need is to blame my AI for the job layoffs, go with a smaller team, but all that capital that you are spending on humans and salaries and jobs and benefits, there's your funding source.
Well, human capital has always been the most expensive element in any business equation.
Mm-hmm.
And will always be, if for no other reason than medical, healthcare, benefits, simply the salary involved. So, it's like I'm a big dude in railroading. Well, they're trying to eliminate people from the cabs of locomotives, and the unions, et cetera, have said no, that's not going to be happening. And then people make customarily the equation about, well, we had to get past buggy whips. We didn't need buggy whips with internal combustion engine vehicles. I get it. But it seems like we're going, again, like you mentioned, and you tell me if this reference is valid. We're going back to the Wild West days of Silicon Valley. Who knows where it's going? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. But I also, there are several, and they're out there on YouTube and other places, and I have not had the time to dig into it. But the AI rise is mirroring the .com rise almost precisely.
Okay.
And we're at the peak. Well, we know what happened with the .com bubble. It burst, right?
Well, yeah, for every boom, we have a bust. And that leads me to the next question is this massive amount of, as you clearly indicate, investment required for this. Is there a bust over the horizon? And are people banks hesitant to make investments because nobody knows where this is going?
Well, again, there's a lot of folks, and when you talk millions of articles over 3 years that have been written favorably about AI, there's a lot of hype that gets bought into that. So then you got to look at who benefits from the overhyped AI push. And it's the OpenAI folks, it's Anthropic, it's Google. You got to look at who's funding all of that publication work, because it all gets pushed into a stock at some point. Don't think the Anthropic IPO is going to be huge, or the OpenAI IPO is going to be huge. They're going to be massive.
Well, and today, for example, the stock market went up 800 points. I think the NASDAQ went up 800 points just today. So
we haven't seen anything with what will happen with SpaceX when it goes public.
It's a nervous nation, and nobody can put their finger on the pulse, the direct pulse, and be able to suss out, oh yeah, AI, it's really going. Oh, it's dying. Oh, it's really going well. Oh, we want to kill it. No, we don't. Yes, we do.
I think it's got a place. I think it's got a place, and I think the possibilities of it are really interesting. But the more I'm pushing with it, the more I'm trying to actually build a workable model within the business, the more I see the limitations.
Okay. One thing I notice, and I'm adult, is that if I go to ChatGPT, they're probably infinitely better AI.
ChatGPT is like using Siri.
Yeah, it's like probably using a Model T, right?
I just, it's horrible. I'm not a fan.
I'll go it. What I'm trying to do is not to pay for any of this crap. Is my goal at this point. But I also notice that with every inquiry, at the bottom of said inquiry, it says, by the way, or words to this effect, by the way, always make sure you check your papers because we may not be telling you the truth, kids.
Yep.
And so I see that as a disclaimer on every access that I make to that or Grok. Those are about the only two that I go into right now.
So Grok is I think Grok is pretty good. I think it's pretty spot on. I've been playing, just as far as the mainstream stuff that's out there. Perplexity is really, really interesting because it's more of an AI router. So it takes whatever it is you're trying to do, and then it goes out and finds the different language model that's going to be the best for doing that task.
Isn't that kind of if I'm remembering correctly, and there's my problem, isn't it like an aggregator of sorts?
Okay,
And I got that wrong too.
On a search, it is a way to look at it from an aggregator perspective. It's more of what you would call an orchestrator or a router. So it's kind of the AI that runs the other AIs that it has access to. So it's kind of the boss AI. So it gets the request and it says, oh, okay, Opus from Anthropic is going to be best for this. And then it will go through and build it. I've literally have gone through and have built an app that goes through each day, and it goes out and finds the news articles written that day on cyber risk for a specific audience, for CEOs, for about 4 different audiences. And it goes through and pulls the articles for me and gives me a report for it each day. So I know what the latest news is, what the latest articles are, what my angle is on it, because it knows my perspective. Okay. And then it kind of gives me something for the social team to work with and send out each day. So it's all hot and fresh. So that kind of stuff, it's really easy to do. Now, Perplexity had Anthropic, Claude, build that app to do that. Great choice. Building apps with it are really kind of interesting, but they're not fully ready to go because when you move them over to your server and try to make them public and push them out there, you got to bring in your own developer and have them work on it. So nothing is straightforward. Nothing is as easy as they make it seem. And nothing's as bad as they try to make it seem right now too, is kind of where my head is to, okay. You got to look at, you got to take it all with a pinch of salt.
Okay. And don't think, folks, that we're not going to the bad. All right. Because this is the opportunity. One of the reasons that I like Mike here is because, given Mike is the cybersecurity expert, but I want to emphasize with great emphasis that Mike is here because he punches the hell out of the digital world every day, every hour. I mean, he works with AI all the time and beating it into shape using all of the various things that are available to him in the digital world, and it's yielding results. That said, I want to go to a couple of other articles.
Sure.
And I should preface things as people who have been here before as I trust nothing and no one, essentially. And that's my nature, 41, almost 42 years as a cop. Yeah, I mostly hate people and I don't trust much of anything. But I want to throw some pieces out here and then have Mike say, yeah, okay, this is valid. It's not valid. It's maybe kind of sort of valid. Here are some complaints. Here's a story from the Cowboy State Daily, which is in Wyoming. And the headline is, as people can see, Georgia 30 million gallon water grab puts Cheyenne data centers under new scrutiny. When a Georgia data center quietly drew 30 million gallons of water during a drought, no one noticed until residents' water pressure dropped. This controversy is causing concern in Cheyenne, where 70 some data centers are in various stages of discussion. This is the point where BZ says, okay, wait. Now I indicated earlier that my county, Kootenai County, says, we're not doing this crap. And one of the reasons I think they're saying that is there's a little town not far from me called Rathdrum. And Rathdrum is a little town run by fucking morons or people that are on the take. One of the two. I'm not
Maybe
sure
both.
which. And so various developers came into Rathdrum and made whatever kind of presentation, privately or publicly, with a public presentation. You can't convince me that there weren't all sorts of private consultations under this table with various personnel, because the people, the city council or whatever that equivalent is in Rathdrum, against the wishes of the people in any number of meetings said, yeah, okay, come on, developers, come right in. And the residents of Rathdrum are paying a price. And that price is, well, we're running out of poop and sewers, and we're running out of water and pressure, just like that article indicated. Well, if these morons are letting developers come in and rape the citizens of Rathdrum, and Rathdrum residents, your taxes are going to expand in your ass like a bad colonoscopy, and you had the opportunity, all this stuff, because I'm not a big fan of people. If this is going on in some little stupid damn town over here, screwing the people, why is it that I'm supposed to trust companies that are attempting to install servers, that are trying to install, let me see if I can find this from the cowboy state all over again. I'll find it. In any event, these centers are thirsty and these centers are hungry. And one of the things that some places in California used to do, and maybe they do it here in Idaho, maybe of areas in Southern California where you are that do this. But when developers come into an area, in some regions, they are tasked with doing this. If you come in, developer A, B, and C, then we want you to, for every number of houses that you build, you will commit to a fire station. You will commit to an upgrade of sewer. You will commit to an upgrade of electrical. You will commit to a number of requisite, say, police stations or police service, smaller stations to help the people. And that's wrapped up all in your costs. Some areas do that, some areas don't. I make mention of that because data centers, and yes, you're scrambling for money. My reply to you would be, okay, if massive BZ if then axiom. If we have the water, if we have the electrical, and if you make commitments to not screwing over our committee or our community, then we will consider your placement. Location will be very important. But we have to make sure that our citizens are not screwed in the process, because it's the new and upcoming thing. Having said that, where I used to live down in Sacramento, or up in Sacramento, is there any area or development where you are or were where before people develop, they're told you're not going to be pouring one footing of concrete until we know these things? Will you accommodate and help us with this? And with those areas, because I know of some, what would be wrong with insisting to a data center, a builder, and saying, you will not step 1 foot into wherever until you accede to these things because you're going to task our resources. And if you task our resources, we want to see something on our end too. It's not going to be one way. It's going to be bi-directional. Thoughts, Mike Fitzpatrick?
Okay. Let me put my former planning commissioner hat on.
Okay. Perfect. See, and that's one of the reasons that I wanted to ask you about that.
Because I served as a planning commissioner in a city here in California where we went from 30,000 people to 120,000 people in about 3 years' time. So have seen massive expanse, massive development, have worked with developers. There are good developers. There are shady developers. Most every developer is just like our president, for God's sake. Every deal is the greatest deal in the world. It is going to be the best, most incredible deal because they have to be their own hype men for the deals that they're putting through. So all that said, here, when a project would go through the city of that I live in, we would get it at city council. At that point, it had been in process with city staff for probably 3 to 5 years before it ever got to a hearing.
Okay.
So during that hearing, we decided based upon the zoning, based upon construction, based upon look, feel. We're not allowed to consider jobs. We're not allowed to consider, traffic element is part of it. So that would be considered. But data centers don't usually have a lot of employees. There aren't a ton of folks working in data centers.
You're not going to get a job explosion at all.
No, you're not. You will in the construction phase of it, and it's temporary, and they don't live there. They come in and they move on. That's typical. After you get your approval in California, and you're lucky enough to get through all of the permitting that's required, you then have to go to the water board to get your approval from the water board. Just because you get an approval at the city doesn't mean you have an approval for water. So then it has to be approved by a water board for water that's needed for that operation. Most of these data centers that are coming in, with everything that I'm reading, they're bringing in their own electricity capabilities. Now it's these little mini nukes that they're building.
Isn't Google doing something with that? Google or Microsoft?
Yeah. Amazon bought the 3 Mile Island thing. So
Amazon. Okay.
Yeah. So they're trying to be as respectful to an area as you can be. I think that trying to overbuild an area on data centers is maybe one of the silliest things ever, simply because the amount of bandwidth, the amount of electricity, the amount of just from a business continuity and a disruption standpoint, you take out an area like that, everybody's down. And they're not coming back quickly, because if you take out the communications in that area or a transformer in that area, they're all down. They'll have battery backup. They will have diesel generators, or they'll have solar, some other way to get power to them. But, again, it is that becomes a really target-rich environment from a soft target perspective that and I know the FBI keeps a list of. So it would be it would be more than a little interesting to me that it would be that way. The cities, I'll say this with all due respect to the folks that run for office, those that serve in appointed positions like I was as planning commission. I have more experience in California government than the guy that's actually leading for the GOP right now in California government. I have more experience than him. Not my choice. My sheriff ran, and he was the right guy. But anyway, where was I going with this? So
let me make one more point, and then
go ahead.
We're going to come back because I got to take a break. It's bottom of the hour break, and then I want you to come back and finish your statement. The final statement that I have to make before the break is with regard to this Cowboy Daily story is data centers are popping up across Wyoming and including Cheyenne. And this is a specific quote from the article where 70 data centers are in various stages of discussion. And a key point and a key issue is water and, of course, electricity. And the biggest thrust of this article is, okay, if we say yes, if that's granted and something goes wrong and all of a sudden we're out of water, the company, the corporation, yes, there's a massive investment, but they have the ability to get up and walk away, and the citizens, not so much. Now, I want Mike to finish up his topic when we come back. And with that, I'm BZ. We're going to take our final break. Tonight's topic with Mike Fitzpatrick, data centers and AI. Why the pushback? Why the pushback now? Mike already had a bunch of answers for that. And if you didn't watch in hour one, sorry, I would highly recommend that you go back and do that. We're going to take a break. I'm BZ. That is Mike Fitzpatrick. Here in the saloon, we'll be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Mission log entry. I mean, let's face it, who's even counting anymore? The Lost Wonder is officially off course, chasing rogue rocket launches, fringe science, and things that probably violate causality. If it burns fuel, bends time, or makes scientists very uncomfortable, yeah, I'm probably going to talk about it. Every other Sunday on KLRN Radio, The Lost Wanderer, because space doesn't come with a roadmap, and honestly, I wouldn't follow if it did.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here's Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? You need to check out Mission Ready Men via Earl Big E Jackson on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And it's the final 24 minutes of the show. I don't think we're going to be going into overtime tonight because Mike Fitzpatrick, as per normal, has done an exquisite job of answering Mr. Stupid's questions. I can see you, Mike. I can see you give me a thumbs up because I'm Mr. Stupid, but I have you here anyway because you are so on top of what's going on in the digital world. You are, in fact, the cybersecurity expert, and I be thanking God and stuff that you are here to answer my ridiculous questions and illuminate us all on this stuff.
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry. I interrupted you. I apologize.
No, that's okay. I don't know if you remember your thought. I can't remember from 5 seconds to the next my last thought. But if you had a statement or a point that you wanted to make just before the break, and I was so rude to interrupt, but that's me. You want to continue with whatever it was that you were going to say, please, sir?
I was going to say a couple of things, and during the break, I did a little bit more research on this Wyoming data center thing.
Okay.
It's literally 70 in one county. They've already built 43.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
That's isn't that? I got to stop you and I say, isn't that nuts? In one county?
Okay, so let me tell you. Okay, two things. One, I was going to say cities, typically city councils and such are usually driven through processes by professional city staff. The elected people to govern a city are usually not the most sophisticated people when it comes to technology. They're not the best at knowing what is what and separating fact from fiction.
So do they think that they're cutting a fat hog and this is our time?
Part of this is actually an executive order, apparently by the governor of Wyoming, is what has driven it. So again, it seems as though there might be some leeway that has been taken with environmentals. This whole thing, thinking that it's going to be a jobs boom, is I not as much as they think it will be. I don't see that. Simply because of the fact that a lot of IT itself is going to be done by AI. So there isn't really a need for a whole lot of people.
And people are expensive.
Well, even the security guards. I mean, there's a security company, a physical security company that I've invested in. It's called Nightscope, and it is a robotics security company. So you'll be able to patrol. They'll be able to patrol that mundane patrol stuff that humans are not good at. Will be able to do with robotics. So, and they deliver those things on a subscription basis for $600 a month. So why? I mean, there isn't going to be a big benefit from a human perspective. And I think, there's a potential that a lot of folks got sold a bill of goods, but I don't understand. I mean, now from the technical standpoint, let's go at it from that perspective.
Okay.
So in order for the data centers to do anything, you have to have massive amounts of telecommunications and bandwidth. Now, I don't know Wyoming all that well, but they're not on the main roads of bandwidth access.
Yeah, when I think of bandwidth, I don't think of Wyoming or Montana.
I think of cows and cowboys and
in South Dakota and North Dakota.
Yeah,
I don't think that.
Montana. I mean, I get my beef out of Montana. So again, I don't see those as technology areas. Now, the one thing is these data centers are being built at 6,100 feet. That actually helps cool them, being that at that higher elevation.
All right.
I think we have. Yeah, I mean that could be an adequate factor of why they're at that elevation and why they have chosen Wyoming. Um, a lot of, I mean, China right now is putting a lot of data centers in the ocean, on the ocean, excuse me, on the ocean floor. Why? Because they can use the current to power it, and two, the ocean to cool it. Now, Elon's got plans for putting data centers in space. Why? To cool them, solar to power them. So, there's all kinds of alternatives starting to come to the front. But I honestly think that putting data centers off the coast of California or off the coast in the Gulf of Mexico, you could put them along the coast on the East Coast. But then again, you have hurricanes that you have to deal with. You have oceanic impact that you have to contend with if you do go the ocean route with it. So it's 6 one, half dozen of another.
Here's another issue, and I want to put this article up, which of course will be in Rumble at the end of the show. You can see all the articles and videos and whatnot that I reference. But it's from MIT Tech Review. I would assume by that name that they have a good CV behind them.
Yeah.
And they're essentially saying in this article, okay, we're building a lot of stuff in the desert. And for example, the data center boom is in the desert. What they say is in the high desert east of Reno, Nevada, construction crews are flattening the golden foothills of the Virginia range, laying the foundations of a data center city. And then it names a bunch of organizations: Google, Tract, Switch, EdgeCore, Nova, Vantage, and Powerhouse are all operating, building, or expanding huge facilities nearby. Now, meanwhile, Microsoft has acquired more than 225 acres of undeveloped property, and Apple is expanding its existing data center just across the Truckee River from the industrial park. Okay, and this isn't the only place. There are data centers being built, New Mexico, Arizona, a lot of them in the desert, to which, and I don't have my finger on the pulse of knowing anything much more than what I see in articles. Does it not seem to you, it seems to me, that building, well, I can tell you for a fact, because I lived up in the Sierra Nevada mountains, and the Truckee River is just about a trickle right now. And we talked about Glenn Beck a little bit earlier. I was watching a Glenn Beck video, and he was saying essentially that we are going to be in a drought which will make 1613, which killed Jamestown, look kind of pissy, kind of small. And it'll be not just a small drought, it'll be a pretty big drought. Well, where I am up here, California's in a drought. We're in a drought. Oregon's in a drought. Washington is in a drought. So water is going to be a critical issue. And then, of course, what he was talking about, Glenn Beck, Lake Mead is a third of what it was, to the point where the collection towers may be sucking air in the not too terribly distant future. The Colorado has hundreds of thousands of straws trying to suck all the water out of it, including Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And we're running out of the resources necessary to do that. It says the corporate race to amass computing resources to train and run AI and store information in the cloud has sparked a data center boom in the desert, and it's just far enough away from Nevada's communities to elude wide notice and some fear adequate scrutiny. Okay, so kind of, sort of, I get the desert thing. Maybe they're hinging their success on arrays of solar panels that we haven't even begun to conjure. But it seems that by placing data centers in areas that are already challenged, I can think of no other sentence to say other than you're kind of asking citizens to say no?
Well, Reno area, Reno Sparks. No, well, my son went to the University of Reno at one point in time, or the University of Nevada at Reno. Beautiful area, beautiful countryside.
Oh, yeah.
But it's also had a very robust tech community in between Reno and Sparks,
and a building community.
And so it's been out there. Tesla was out there. Panasonic's out there. It's a lot of escapees from California because you're right across the border.
Sure.
The quality of life in and around Reno and out by Tahoe is spectacular. But the desert land that's out there is also some of the cheapest that you can buy. Again, land cost.
Okay, I get that, but what am I? It seems to me I'm missing something in terms of resources.
I think one, the temperate the climate there. During the winter it gets cold in Reno. You get snow. You're up at elevation. What is elevation of Reno? I don't know off the top of my head.
It's lower than the summit of Donner is about 7,500 or so, and then Reno is not far from the Carson City Plateau.
So it's probably what, about 5,000 feet?
Oh gosh, no. As a matter of fact, you make me want to find out.
Because you come down the mountain and then you get into a valley, but you're still at elevation. It's still a high desert at that point.
Okay. Reno is the 78th most populous city in the U.S. And let me hit this and see if I can go to something of an elevation, because they're not far from the Carson Valley. When I used to go to the ridge was on top and looked down over the Carson Valley. Let's see. Here we go. Elevation 4,500.
I was close.
Yeah. So 4,500. So it's going to be cool, and it doesn't get all that much snow, because the big divide between lots of snow like Truckee, once you get past Truckee, snow just plummets. It goes way far away, and it's not a huge water source. The Truckee dwindles. Is like there's this magic curtain where West Truckee and west, tons of snow. Truckee and east, yeah, you're not going to get that much. The precipitation is a little challenging.
The other side of it is you got a lot of trains in and out of Reno every day.
Yeah, UP runs out of Reno.
Yeah,
and they have a huge yard there in Sparks.
Yeah, so you can bring a lot of equipment in via train. So it's advantageous. There's reasons why it's advantageous. How they mitigate it is a different story. But again, we've been building data centers. And again, the question is, are they AI data centers? Are they just normal data centers? Because normal data centers they're not complicated. It's a big shell of a building with servers in it. You need proper cabling. You need to be able to run wire to it, get to the backbone for the internet. We know what we're doing with these things.
I went back to the article, and yes, they are talking about data centers.
So it's not AI related. So
the corporate race to amass computing resources to train and run AI and store information has sparked a data center boom. So if I'm reading that correctly, it's AI related.
Yeah, not everything not everything's going to be in a data center. This is the other reality. I think there's people rushing into what they think is a gold rush, and I think there's going to be a lot of folks maybe with egg on their face. Can't guarantee it, but I think, again, as I said, even Mark Cuban agrees with me, and I'm not a Mark Cuban fan, but he believes that the future of AI, if you want to make money in AI, it's not in data centers. It's actually building and putting in small language models, like I was talking about with the Mac Minis, and building AI for businesses within their business. That's where the opportunity lies, and I agree with that.
Okay, you've said Mac Mini twice, and I have a really difficult time trying to figure that out. Apple Mac Mini Desktop M4 chip, 16 gig, 749. So that's just a box.
Yeah, BZ, it's literally about that big.
Yeah, it looks small.
Yeah,
according to what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, it's like 5 inches by 5 inches, maybe 4 inches by 4 inches.
Yeah, they're not
not big. Lots of power, small footprint, but it's enough to do, and especially if you stack them, have 4 or 5
like a
of them.
RAID array of some sort.
Just use them as 4 servers, stack them on top of each other, connect them. Again, they'll do a lot of horsepower in that thing.
Okay,
but it is, but I think that's the future, because some of what you see with AI now is you see performance hits certain times of the day where you're trying to get something done because you're having to go back to the server at X data center, wherever that may be located. It then has a delay in giving you a response back. And that's because it's being overloaded by traffic. So I really think that companies were going to move to more of a small language model AI that is in-house, that is trained on their stuff specifically, nothing else.
Okay, and then are you saying something similar to that would not necessitate the continued construction of gargantuan server farms?
Think about it this way. Remember what I said 50 years ago, Apple was founded to move computing to the desktop.
Okay.
Why? Because paying for compute in a mainframe time on a computer got too expensive. We're now fast approaching, who is it? Microsoft, I guess. Was it Microsoft or one of the other big boys? They had their development team using Claude, and they were going to spend $1 billion+ or a massive amount of money for the development team to use Claude to do the development. Well, they blew through the budget for the year on the compute budget for actually the coding team, the development team, inside of 4 months. And now they've come back and said, we need to go back to developing this stuff ourselves because we've blown through the entire budget for the year in 4 months.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but let me throw this out at you. One of the final points.
So the credit card has exceeded its limit.
Are you making some kind of a little bifurcated point where data centers may be like Pentium 2s in terms of, yeah, they're really popular and we're getting a lot of money for these things, and we know we really, really need them for AI, but are we already, might some people be looking into the future and saying, you might not want to put all your billions of dollars into this arena, and scale might come down from these huge umbrella warehouses of servers down to a smaller local level, kind of like you said with the mini. But, yeah, we're always going to probably need to continue with server farms and data centers, if for no other reason than storage for all the crap that people already use.
Well, so I think you're close. I think where I'm going with this is, as I've said a couple of times, we're in the wild, wild west right now. The concrete is not dry. So there is no definitive direction that this is going to go. Okay. There are going to be people that aren't going to want all of their sensitive information in a data center that they don't control. With me on that?
Okay.
So NCX is a company that doesn't want all of our things that we do in a data center somewhere where we don't have full control. So we are going to go the small language model on machines that we control in our offices, in our environment, and not on a cloud somewhere, meaning a data center. Cloud means mainframe. Data center means mainframe. Mainframe means cloud and data center. Does that make sense?
But you guys, because you are you and you are a very smart person, you're already looking that far down the road to try to figure out, I see what's happening now, but what's going to happen in 5 years, 10 years? Where do we want to be? What access to our data do we want? And it sounds like you're saying, this stuff way far away, not so much. Let's keep it more in-house.
So it's that. I mean, you also look at the cost of what it takes for cloud storage, for example. You can go out and go buy a NAS, a network attached storage device for your house or for your small office or whatever it is. And with the apps that they have now, you would have cloud access to the hard drive array in your office.
Okay.
That you paid for once. Right? You own it. And it might have, I don't know, 700 terabytes of data, whatever number, right? Whereas if I use iCloud or I use Amazon and I use some of these others for storage, I'm paying for X amount of gigabytes at a time. So the basic Apple plan, I think, is, let's say $10 a month. I'm paying $120 a year forever.
Okay.
For data storage on iCloud. Whereas if I bought that NAS and put it in my house, I maybe spent $600, but I own it.
Okay.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah. So might I be translating somehow to when these people are all thinking that they're potentially shitting in the tall cotton, Mike is saying something similar to hold up on that car wash. You just might not be so much one day, possibly kind of soon.
It's one of these things. And again, I don't think there's anything definitive right now is what I'm saying.
All right.
I don't think there's a clear path one way or another because the data center path does not fit all businesses. At the same time, I'm also saying, and I'm really bullish on AI, especially for businesses. If there is a business out there that isn't actively looking and experimenting and figuring out how AI can automate some of your really mundane and monotonous tasks, you're making a mistake. You're going to get crushed.
Okay.
One of my favorite BZ, do you watch on Amazon, do you watch Clarkson's Farm at all?
I know of it, but I have not watched it.
It is literally one of my favorite things on television.
Okay.
Jeremy Clarkson, a British presenter.
Right. He used to be on Top Gear
and the Grand Tour and all that. And Jeremy is just a really funny guy.
He is great.
And back in 2020, he bought land out in the Cotswolds of England. He bought 1,000-acre farm, and he's been learning farming and he's become one of the biggest advocates in the UK for British grown vegetables, beef, lamb, you name it, pork, that Britain gets back to actually growing things and raising their own food and quality food.
Self-sustaining, independent.
Yes. And so Jeremy also points out each week how incredibly stupid the socialist system is, and the frustrations with it, in the UK, which is California on steroids. So this is his 5th year, and he's now frustrated because as hard as he works, as hard as he goes at this, and the care that he gives his animals that eventually end up slaughtered and on a menu in his pub that he owns, it breaks his heart when he sends them off to the purveyor to be slaughtered. He actually cries. He puts so much effort into this, and he's losing money trying to keep it afloat, trying to keep all the balls in the air. He has started looking at automation tools to get the farming right, one of which is a fully autonomous tractor, or fully autonomous tractor. Another thing that he's looking at, he's just deployed, is a fully autonomous seeder. And he's using ground penetrating radar to determine where the best spots are to plant and really double down, and what other areas in the land need to have different types of fertilizer and what amounts of fertilizer. So he's really getting scientific on it. The last episode that I watched last night was episode 4 for this season. 2 Dutch farmers. Just absolutely incredible what they're doing with technology. One dairy farm floating in a river in Belgium, I guess that one is Belgium, in Belgium, and it's fully self-serving. The cows go over and they get milked by the robots, and then they leave, and then they go play in the grass that's out there and eat and get charged up to go back and do it again. The pasteurization and the milk processing is down below the cows, out on this barge that's in the middle of a river. Absolutely phenomenal. This other guy, and he's come in and helped Jeremy, but it's BZ, it's incredible what they're doing with technology to that stance. So I think, and I'm taking a long way around here, there's no set path. There's no clear direction. Data centers are going to be needed for a lot of different things. AI is going to be an overlay. But even with farming, they're using AI in ways that, man, it was mind-blowing watching what they're using AI to do within farming.
Okay, let me throw one more thing out into the ozone. And I had so much more than this, but this is the last thing that I want to throw and pitch into the ether for tonight. And that is, hey, wait, what if there's somebody that's going to jump into the AI and data world just like they've taken over, property and railroads and housing, etc. So let's put this up. Hey, kids, look, it's Larry Fink. And here's what he says he wants to do. Larry.
But now, because of drone warfare, we have to relook at all forms of security and the need for rebuilding the GCC region, to rebuild it so that it's going to be in a position where it's not going to be obstructed by drone warfare. So many more things are going to have to be underground. But even here in the United States, if we're going to be building, let's say, these 1 gigawatt data centers, How do we make sure we're not protecting those $50 billion, $75 billion investments? We have to re-look at everything because of the role of drone warfare. Right now, we're looking at it internationally, but one of my concerns is, could it be a domestic terrorism using a $3,000 drone? So all of these things are actually opportunities, not problems. It's going to require, as we said,
You already see where this is going, right?
trillions of dollars of capital. Governments cannot build these out alone. They don't have the wherewithal. And two, their deficits are started to be mounting. And we spend too little time talking about the U.S. deficits and other countries' deficits. So this is all going to be the role of private sector.
So what he's saying is essentially is, this is BlackRock CEO Larry Fink saying that, it's kind of sort of like a bit of a preemptive war on American citizens who are going to fight back against my very precious AI centers that I want to bury deep underground so that they are not susceptible to terrorist acts, drones, etc. Saying that people could obviously use inexpensive drones. And what he's saying, sub rosa, is that BlackRock is going to go ahead and control nearly all of the AI data centers because, as he said in his word, that's an opportunity. We have to relook at all forms of security. Could it be domestic terrorism using a $3,000 drone? Well, the only way to really protect all of this is to get me at BlackRock into this equation.
So he makes some, and again, from a business resiliency standpoint, from a security standpoint, from a cyber risk standpoint, he makes some really interesting points. Now, if you did put the data centers underground, they're easier to cool. The reason they need water is to cool them.
Yes.
Just like your Black Pearl probably is water cooled, isn't it?
It is to a limited fashion, but yes, it is.
So again, the point that he's making is actually really good from Mike's perspective, and from how would you protect it, because they are soft targets. They are opportunities for whatever type of entity wants to set off a bomb. They are targets. That's why they're usually nondescript buildings that no one knows what they are unless you've been invited to said building. So it's interesting because if you do put them underground, you did tap into geothermal for energy perspective, you'd actually be able to do it effectively, I would think. So it's not all bad, even though, the WEF and the folks associated with that are not my favorite people in the world. It's all the documents are out there, folks. Go read them.
Don't think that I didn't have WEF and Klaus Schwab references for tonight. And I had them all ready to go, and we didn't touch hardly anything. But again, I understand the tech purposes of all of that, but it's the Larry Fink opportunist, I want to control everything in the world BlackRock shindig that to me links up to so much that we didn't even get to touch upon tonight. And I know you might be a little disappointed yourself. I think there is a control / globalist / WEF element to all of this.
Just go read the materials, folks. It's all out there.
Yeah.
Go read the Great Reset. But no, and again, not all things are bad. Not all data centers are bad. Not all of this is going to be bad. We are in a period of change, just like we were 100 years ago. And it's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out. The benefit of moving from horse and buggy in New York City to automobiles was there was no smell of manure on the roads every day. That was a big benefit. But it also put, the blacksmiths and the
a lot of other people out of business.
Yeah.
Well, and like you said, it's the wild, wild west, kids, and it's transformative. And it's a lot of other things all wrapped up in one. Mike Fitzpatrick, thanks for being here.
Hold on just a second.
Wait, there's more.
There's more. So before we get out of here,
okay,
we need to have a ceremonial toast to our guy, Jake, because that dude wanted to stay with you and Mrs. BZ in the worst way possible. You guys gave him a great home, made his life incredible, and he wanted to stay with you so much that he fought for an extra 8 months.
Oh yeah.
I love that dog. And he's not even my dog. I love that dog.
We got him looking like this. He was super screwed up. We had to nurse him back to health. We, in the process of leaving Califailure to come here, we had to stop here at his cafe. He had his own cafe. We didn't know that at the time. And when I think of him, I like to think of him like this when he's young and strong and cool looking and super dog. That's how I want to think of him, because because he was going blind in his right eye and had a cataract in his left eye. When he would look at you, we called him, he would give you side eye. And he was a great giver of side eye. That was Jake. That was the kid. So, skull brother.
Jake. There's a little bourbon to Jake.
Here, well, there's a little potato water in here.
Oh, yeah.
So thanks to Jake.
Thanks to Jake. You will be missed, my friend. That was an awesome dog. And I love the fact that he just wanted to stay. Fought through hell to stay.
He did. He went through hell. Absolutely. Mike Fitzpatrick, before you go, if you have any social media or any business things that you'd like to make people aware of, go ahead and do that right now, if you would.
Sure. So social media wise, you can find us on X, Facebook, and Instagram at NCX Group. You can find us on LinkedIn at NCX Group. And those are really the only socials we really do a whole lot with. Okay. But, if we can help anybody, just reach out through our website. There's live people there taking information and working with customers now. So anyway, BZ, it is always we'll
do it again, mister. We will always do it again. A pleasure to have you here, sir.
Love every minute of it. All right, my friend.
All right, take care. Mike Fitzpatrick, thanks to him for being here tonight. I want to remind everyone, if I can, that we have other shows, and there are going to be other shows coming up tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Go to KLRN, Rick Robinson at KLRN Radio on X, and you can see all the shows that Rick Robinson will have at KLRN. Just go there. There are so many shows there. I can't begin to elucidate how many and how wide and varied they are, and they're all excellent. And then myself, I'm on Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern. But first, before that now, Earl Jackson of Mission Ready Men on SHR, on the SHR Media YouTube channel, just like me. Earl Jackson's Mission Ready Men show is on just before me, as you can see below, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday and Thursday evenings. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Lyle Armstrong of Beer and Burstein. He, on SHR, is going to be here tomorrow afternoon or evening, depending on where you are, 4 p.m. Pacific and 7 p.m. Eastern. And Friday and Saturday. Lyle Armstrong and Bjorn Burstein, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for listening. Mike was talking about my cute little guy who passed away last Wednesday at 6:57 p.m. It's been a week and a day already since he passed away. Great kid, great dog. He left us. He's going to be waiting with us. We already have one dog that passed, and he's running around with that guy right now. What a great guy. I miss him so much. Just like Angus. And with that, so I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here from the SHR Media Network on the SHR Media YouTube channel. Please subscribe. And to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show on Rumble. And also, thanks to KLRN and all the people, all the places where you can find great podcasts, because you don't just have to listen to me live. You can listen to me later on in podcast. That's one of the cool things about, well, being a podcaster. As per normal, promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works and also by Shure and Electro Voice microphones, the microphones I use, by the Arrakis company that make my mixer, and also by the Pratt & Whitney Engine Company that manufacture dependable engines yielding thrust you can trust. And thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be consorting in less than 10 minutes. Watch KLRN and watch Lyle Armstrong tomorrow night here on SHR. God bless, take care, be safe.
Everybody quiet down now, get some sleep. Good night, everybody. Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben. Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy. Good night, children. Good night, Dad. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.
By the way, if you will, remember, all dogs go to heaven. Good boy, Jake. Good boy.